Hi, it's Calvin Castine. I'm in Plattsburgh at an elegant office here, at the former Air Force Base. I was just reading this brochure, a North Country Honor Flight, a grateful nation remembers a generation of quiet heroes. So I thought maybe I'd learn more about this organization. First I hear of you guys. You've been around long, have you?
Yeah, we are starting our 6th year of operation, and I'm glad you finally came around.
Must have been born under a rock, Calvin.
We're here with Judy on the camera. I've always got to mention Judy's got the camera, otherwise
should.
She'll want me to pay her if I don't do that. We got Barry Finnegan and Greg Lee. I'll let you tell I know you've got 18 titles, so I'll let you start with your titles.
Just
Gary.
director is the one I go by most. If we get fancy, some people call me executive director.
Oh, wow. Excuse me.
Nobody responds any differently to that.
He's being modest. He's the guy that runs this operation like a well-oiled machine, I might add.
And you were going to be a flight leader, Greg, I hear.
I am. This will be my 3rd trip down. I went as an assistant flight leader on my first 2 trips down. But I've been involved with Honor Flight since actually before it was born. One of the initial founders of our hub.
Okay,
up
so
there. Yeah.
back when Danny Kafitz was getting this started
Absolutely.
many years
When we
ago.
organized the first meeting to see if it was even practical to have an honor flight.
Yeah.
And of course, it was.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was.
Yeah, I forget which newspaper or what. I'd seen a little thing on it, and immediately got a call Gordy and said, "Hey, Gordy, we got to do this," and we got together with a bunch there in the Keysville area, and
We organized that first meeting not knowing we were even going to have a flight, and left there thinking, well, maybe we can pull one off.
get one.
And here we are looking at flight number 23.
23.
Flight number 23.
And you're going to do 5 this year? That's what you're hoping for?
It's kind of up in the air
4
right
or
now.
5?
We're hoping for 5. That's based on the numbers of the aircraft that we used to have.
Yeah,
So-
up in the air is a very apt way of putting this, because
Yeah.
right now, today's headlines is Pen Air is leaving, and the new one won't come in till August. So we've got flights. When are your flights? You know, you got one in the middle of May.
May
or
19th is the first flight.
a week after
That's
Mother's Day.
solid as gold. I just spoke with Anchorage yesterday
Anchorage.
for Pen Air.
Okay.
And a
That's
lot of
right,
people
their
don't realize
headquarters-
that Penn stands for Peninsula Air. It's the Alaskan Peninsula.
Yeah.
Their base is in Anchorage, and the news wasn't good. The May 19th flight is safe. We're good to go there. June 30th would be their regularly scheduled last day of service in Plattsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do what they can. They're researching it now and going to call us back and let us know. But as of now, the June 30th flight has been canceled as far as Pen Air. I offered to them that we move the flight back a few weeks ahead. So they're working with that and going to see what they do. And we know they've been a good partner with us, and we know they'll do what they can. So if they can just change the date and move it up a little bit, we can make it work. It'll be a little bit of a rush, but as opposed to losing the flight,
Yeah.
that's a great option.
Yeah, because Pen Air has been a full partner. Not more than just providing air.
Absolutely.
These people go above and beyond, and they become part of your trip there.
They are. They're part of our operation, and they, the flight crew travels
Big
with
part.
us down there in Washington. They go have a great time, and anything that we're there that we need out of them, they're always bending way over backwards. Katie over at the desk here at the Plattsburgh office, she's just constantly doing stuff for Honor Flight that is not necessary. Like you said, above and beyond.
Always above and beyond.
The pilot, Ty Thamaris, is the main pilot. He's probably flown the majority of our flights. And having a pilot with us on that day when we're down there, weather can move in, things can change in a hurry, and it can affect how we get our veterans back home. I mean, our main function is to transport these veterans safely to Washington and back home. And there's issues that come up that affect that.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a pilot sitting right there saying, hey, storm's moving in, can we leave 15 minutes early? It's never a big deal, and who knows how much trouble we averted by doing that. So having those people there is a great asset to us.
Yeah, and what this is all about is the county and the FFA, whoever DOT. I'm not sure who decides who's going to be the essential, like they call it.
EAS, yeah, Essential Air Service.
Air service out of Plattsburgh has changed. Who's the new one coming in?
Sky West.
Sky West, and they're coming in after August,
Supposed to be August 29th.
August 29th.
Originally it was July 1st, and now it's August 29th.
And this is the problem, the gap that's been created. So as of today, we're doing this on April 27th. My son Nate's 40th birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Nate.
Happy birthday, Nate.
We're doing this is all in the headlines, and
The main problem is Penn Air having given notice to their employees that,
Well, sure.
the contract is almost
yeah,
up.
we're done here.
Half of them already have jobs elsewhere. And that's the problem, the manpower. It's not that the airline doesn't want to be here. It's that they aren't going to have the people to staff the problem. The mechanics, pilots, ground crew, there's a lot involved in pulling off a charter flight for the day. And if they don't have the proper people, the call I got was very apologetic that they hate to, but worse than not telling us would be to wait till the last minute and then cancel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they're looking ahead in protection of us, as they always have.
If we can
And,
pull that flight off, any way possible, we're gonna pull that flight off, we're gonna do it. And, the folks that are scheduled to go on a June flight, which we're just now making that selection, will go on the next flight. It's not that they're not gonna go.
Right.
It may go a little bit later.
So it's going to push
But
everybody
exactly.
back. And of course, health problems always trump
Yes.
other things.
Yes, always.
You know.
We had 2 veterans pass away this winter that
Yeah.
won't be taking the flight, so we know how urgent it
But
is.
again-
And even the 2 months,
Yeah.
if something happens where this second flight doesn't go, we're very worried about that 2-month period before the next flight.
Plus Sky West with a bigger aircraft, we'll be able to make up a lot of veterans. We'll be able to get a lot more veterans down there quicker.
So you can get bigger flights with.
We're looking at more seats.
It's a 50-seat aircraft, and a lot of details to work out yet on
Yeah,
that. But are we going to buy commercial tickets? The flight schedule that they have going to Dulles is very compatible with our schedule.
Yeah.
So it's possible we might just purchase tickets.
Just get on a regular flight.
Yep. Yep.
Would leave room even if family members wanted to go. They'd be able to purchase a ticket and go on their own. So, I mean,
so that
this could be a good thing. This could
Yeah.
be a good thing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
right now with Penn Air, that plane is pretty much filled with your people.
Not pretty much.
We're allotted 29 seats on each aircraft, and that's,
And the people have to get on the scale before they.
Well,
believe it or not,
actually,
it's
we do.
important.
We
Yeah.
have to know their weight and figure
Yeah.
in the weight of the wheelchairs. And I gotta tell you, no, I'm not gonna tell you.
You can say it when the camera's off, Greg.
We have some great fiction because we do have to
Yeah.
ask the weight of each person on that aircraft. And sometimes it's interesting.
Yeah.
And they're, again, Penn Air working closely with us, they can tell us if there's a problem. Even the weight of the wheelchairs, they have an average weight for each wheelchair.
Our medical bag.
Yeah,
They
and
know the
anything
weight
that
of
goes on
that.
that aircraft. We actually had one flight that was so, just a coincidence between the overweight and the extra baggage we had. They had to stop in Long Island and refuel. We lost an hour and a half.
Wow.
So we don't want that to ever
Pretty
happen
critical.
again.
Weight's critical.
Yeah,
A headwind is critical.
Yeah.
Because that could
Well, yeah,
cause them to have to
sure.
fuel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all figured in.
There's no rest stops in the,
No.
along the route.
we kept waiting for that plane out of Plattsburgh Air Base to pull overhead and refuel, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
never saw them.
No 135.
Somebody somewhere has got our schedule though, because the last flight I was on, we were nearing New York City. We were probably somewhere around Newburgh or so, and all of a sudden 5 planes showed up coming alongside of us, and they were jets. I don't dare say what type, but you could see they stopped
Talk about
almost
chills.
like a salute, and then they darted ahead, and you could see them turn across, and then they went back this way. Of course, however fast they were going, it didn't take long to get by us, but it was some kind of a salute.
Wow.
Honor
Tell
Flight,
us.
Honor Flight has a special call sign when they get in the air, and I'm sure that these other agencies know that call sign. So
Not to disrespect the motorcycle guys, but this is even more impressive.
yeah, exactly.
But the motorcycle guys have been with you
Oh my
right from
gosh.
right from day one.
I
you know.
mean,
Just, I mean, as much as last weekend,
Yeah.
the hog group, Harley Owners Group, Plattsburgh Harley Owners Group, did a bowling tournament and raised over $8,000
Wow.
on a bowling tournament that they worked hard at because
Yeah.
you know they sold the banners over the top of the lanes and they sold 24 of them and filled the bowling alley, and it was just a great day, and it was a fun day. They all had a ball, and with a great result, and what a great group of people.
There's a lot of groups, motorcycle groups like the Legion Riders and the Combat Vets, who I'm a member of. They're always doing fundraisers. Excuse me.
Yeah, so this is
As well as the escorting, which is an important part of
Yeah.
our mission.
this is an expensive endeavor. You guys have a fairly good sized budget.
There's a
We've
lot
been
to
very
it.
fortunate.
There's a lot to it.
Very fortunate with the people that have just dug in and said, okay, we're going to do this for Honor Flight, and they never fail us. They never let us down.
Something new every flight. Something pops up. That, well, we want to do this for you. We want to do that for you. It's like, they're not, we don't even approach it. They approach
No.
us. So,
No, that's the
Yeah.
thing. They
no,
look us up.
They seek us. Seek us out.
No, nice situation to be in.
If you
But-
could look back in your crystal ball 4 or 5 years ago when this was going, and you couldn't imagine the amount of
Well, we,
support that came out.
are we going to be able to come up with this? I'll give you an example. 15 grand. Are we going to be able to come up with that money to do that flight? First flight. I mean, it was like a step out in faith.
Well, sure.
You know, North Country's always been great with the veterans. You know, since I've been up here, but you just don't know how something's going to be received. And boy, did they receive it.
You know, that brings up a point. One of the things I always hate to do when we do these things is jump in the middle and assume everybody out there knows what the heck we're talking about.
Right.
I'm sure there are people watching. What are they talking about? Honor
What?
Flight. What is that?
What is Honor Flight?
So, go ahead.
Well, our original mission was to see that the World War II veterans got to see the memorial. The odd thing about the memorials in Washington, the World War II memorial was the last one built. So if you look at that, it's like, how in the world did that happen? I mean, we've had I'm a Vietnam vet myself, and we've had our memorial for a number of years. And the Korean memorial is down there. But we didn't have a World War II memorial. And once that got built, then people started to realize, well, a lot of these veterans are getting up in years, and they haven't had the opportunity to see their own memorial.
Right.
And I guess the idea was born from that. And now there's, I think, 145 hubs,
Yep.
somewhere in that neighborhood, around the country. And it's going good, it's going well. Yeah. And now we've graduated from the World War II. We actually only had 3 on this flight because we've flown to a larger number of them in the area.
And the numbers of them being
And,
available to go are dwindling all the time.
They are, every single day, every single hour, actually. And so we're moved into the Korean War, and now also the Vietnam veterans. We're starting to fly some of those guys. And this flight here is kind of unique because we have 20 veterans going, because a number of them are Vietnam vets going as a guardian and a vet. So that allowed us to get 20 on instead of 14. So this is kind of unique, and we're probably going to see more of that as time goes on.
Because the people going will be younger. And
Yeah.
what that Guardian is
Yeah.
all about is because these World War II veterans are in their late 80s, early
Yeah.
90s, and so on. There was always a Guardian to go with them. You
Right.
most often, probably, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
most often or not a family member, but if
we
not,
try. We
That's
try
right.
to highly
90%
push
of the
that.
time.
was it, and
And,
then if not, then there's
Yeah.
people in your group or
Yeah.
or their family friends
we have,
or whatever.
We have
that-
4 father-son going this time.
Father Korean veterans,
And the
son Vietnam.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So that's kind of special too. that's a real special thing, and just looking so forward to it. We finished our interviews for this flight, so I've met every one of them, met some of their family members, and it's just so great to talk to these guys. None of them think they deserve anything. You know, I didn't do nothing. I just, you know,
Yeah.
I was a radio operator and at the Battle of the Bulge, or you know, whatever. I didn't do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah,
Extremely humble.
it's just the greatest thing I've ever done, bar none, bar none.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't. I feel bad for people in other organizations
Yeah.
that don't get to see the stuff that we do. I'll tell you what, when
Yeah.
you go interview a veteran, and of course now they're aware of what Honor Flight is and what's a little bit of what might happen, but you're going to finish that out and explain in detail what's going to happen. And they're so excited before you even get there. And Honor Flight has already entered that room
Yep.
days before you arrive.
Yep.
And you get in there, and I mean, they're just so happy with what they're about to experience. And they look at you like you're the one that did it, which is in actuality, no. It's this whole group of people
They
that
don't-
got together and
They don't
formed.
stop thanking you.
Oh my gosh, it's endless. The cards and the letters and the phone calls, and
Yeah.
I don't have any. If anybody calls me, my voicemail is probably full because of the calls I've received from veterans after a flight, and I can't bring myself to erase them. I just,
Gotta keep getting new phones
oh
just so
my
you
god,
can keep the messages.
yeah, it's just their thankfulness, like I say, from a very humble generation is just ongoing and makes us do what we do.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's really
A lot
not.
of times when you're interviewing, there's a family member there, and you get a story or two out of them. And a lot of times the family member has never heard the story
Oh, sure.
because they haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
And we've talked to guys after they've gone, and family members, and they'll say, "Boy, he's really opened up since he took that trip down to Washington, or his attitude has really been good, and wished he'd have done it sooner."
Uh-huh.
And
It
the
is
first
when-
reaction is, "I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I don't deserve to go." To, "Boy, I'm glad I went. I'd like to go again. We've got some that want to go again."
And anytime somebody comes back and tells you either it's the best day of their life or
And that's almost always the reaction.
yeah,
Always.
you know you're on to something good. And
Yeah.
to have somebody say that to you, you stop and think about everything they went through just in the war alone, which is the main
Yeah.
way we
Well,
know them.
those weren't their best days.
No,
We
You
haven't
know,
had one
but-
person ask for their money back. Yeah, that's just so great.
I think the one of the best statements that pretty much summed it up was one gentleman up in Champlain. Put it best when he said, "I'm not sure how much time I've got left, but whatever time I've got left has been changed."
Yeah.
And you just stop and think just how much impact that has on what we're doing, and knowing that it means so much to these people is just a great thing. That it's not hard to go out and do our stuff.
No.
Whatever we need to
Makes
do
it
to make
pretty
this
easy.
program
Yeah.
fly is not hard to do.
Well, the
We got,
hours you guys put into it, though, I get I'm on your emailing list there, so I get your minutes and I get your
Okay.
I get your agenda for the year. Well, ding, 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 ding. Today we're going to be here. Tomorrow
not-
we're going to be there.
And
And,
not everything is in there.
Yeah.
No, that's the other thing. That's
Yeah.
some things don't get put into that schedule.
so this is a full-time job for you guys. I hope
Well, certainly
I
for
hope you-
Barry.
It
Certainly
can
for
be.
Barry.
I hope they're not paying you overtime. You're on a straight salary, right?
Yeah,
When you're
yeah. They doubled my pay each year I've done this.
Yeah.
So
And of course, there's some other people on the board that put a lot of time and hours in as well.
we've got a great
We do.
group of volunteers
Yeah.
that just anything. It's not if I get overwhelmed, it's not hard to say, "Hey, Greg, can you?" And I've never had anybody say, "No, I can't."
And
get
vice
there."
versa. As a flight leader, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming because of your workload. I mean, there's a lot of things to make that day happen, and that flight leader is responsible for all that. But I can always call Barry or one of the other folks that do something else like fundraising or whatever. I can call them and say, "Hey, can you give me a hand with this or that?" And then, how come you didn't call me earlier? It's that kind of attitude.
That's what it
really
is.
that
People
kind
are
of attitude.
people are waiting to help.
Yeah,
There's
no.
not a doubt, and we've got a great core group of volunteers. Everything's pretty much fed out. Everybody's got their own item that they do and take care of, and everybody does it, which is the important part, which makes all of us look good.
Yeah.
If somebody says, "Okay, I'm going to take care of this time," it gets done,
It gets
and
done.
we've never had issues.
Yeah.
So we're blessed to have a great group of people, and like Greg said, our board of directors is
Great bunch,
top notch.
dedicated.
Sometimes in that position, it's not all fun. Sometimes you got to make some tough decisions, but you got to do them for what's best with the organization. And that's the bottom line: is those 6 people on the board of directors all look at what is best for Honor Flight.
The mission.
And,
That's
that's
the only thing to look at in the end. The mission.
yep. There's no one person on there, there's no two, it's the mission, and everything else is expendable.
That's absolutely right.
So getting back to the day, I mean,
Yeah.
once we get to get the veterans all signed up and get them ready to go, now they understand this day is all about them, that nothing else matters. The only thing we want to do is show them how much we thank them and the gratitude that we owe them for so long ago. And the whole day kicks off at about 6 o'clock usually. They're picked up by police escort.
Some at 5.
Motorcycle escort, some at 5. Those motorcycle guys, I don't know what
Depending
time
how
they
far they
leave
gotta
their
go.
house. Oh my gosh.
Like from Ticonderoga, it's
But,
usually about 5. Or Malone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
A lot of the Malone, that's the Franklin counties have been spending the night in a hotel or something. and-
we
Yeah.
do that. Yep, we've got a great
We've got a couple
deal with the
Vermonters
local.
in this flight too, and they'll be staying over the night before. Actually, one of our World War II vets is coming over from Vermont. Another one's coming up from Utica. We got a 99-year-old going on this flight,
Wow.
who will be 100 in September. So,
He called in January and knew about Honor Flight, heard about us, and I explained the options to him where he is located, and I actually talked to the director down in Syracuse Honor Flight, and I gave this veteran his options. I said, you can go to Syracuse, you can go over to Cobleskill, or you can come up with us. If you want to come up with us, we'd be glad to take you. And he said, well, we heard you guys do things differently. And at that point, I don't think I could ever be more proud.
yeah.
So the word is out that we're different from most hubs, and not in a bad way to any other hub.
Right.
It's strictly a numbers game. I mean, when you take 150 veterans
Yeah, you
on a
got-
flight on a
Stuff
747,
to be personal.
Yeah, it is.
it's a day. It's a great day. They have a great time. Each of the hubs does a great job. I've seen most of the other send-off ceremonies and
Oh,
welcome
yeah.
homes, and
Really good job.
it's a great job. But here, they're part of a family. There's only 325 veterans that we've sent.
So far, yeah.
So, it's a family, and we get together for different events through the year, and
we don't
they're
lose
part
touch.
of something.
When they fly with us, they don't lose touch. They stay in part of the organization for forever.
Yep.
Forever,
Oh, yeah,
in most
and-
cases.
Yeah. We show up
Yeah.
for the send off, and that front row is full of familiar faces of people that have gone in
Yeah.
the past.
They
and-
get involved in the school visits. They get involved in some of the
Parades
fundraisers,
and
and
the
I mean,
parades
they just
and-
yeah. You get to know their families, and I mean, it really is a family thing. Yeah, you know their kids, their grandkids.
No, and they're all always doing certain things, like they'll stumble across something that they hadn't seen in many years. Like
Yeah.
this morning, I had a veteran bring me in a paper from one of his American Legion books that told about where he was, and he's so proud of that.
Oh, yeah.
Here's where I was, and
And
this
from the Legion
explains it,
book.
and can you take that and read it? And you know that awakened through Honor Flight. So it's just an amazing program.
Yep.
Now,
We,
so this is flight number what?
23.
23, and you sent 325.
25.
So, and you got 20. How many are going? 20.
Satisfy customers.
20 this time.
20 vets.
20 vets.
Uh,
Plus
Yeah.
Guardian. So it's usually what, 18.
It's usually 14 veterans.
14 veterans.
14 vets, 14
So-
guardians, and a flight leader.
So-
That was our normal seating
Because of the-
arrangement.
Because of the
So using
Sitting
the
on the plane.
veterans as a guardian, that frees up a seat, and
Right.
every seat counts.
Yeah,
Every
we're right
seat.
now with Pen Air.
Yeah.
But I just said once.
We were looking at the sheets, and we're looking, okay, well, here's the World War II veterans we have, and here's the Korean veterans, and then here's the Vietnam veterans, which are coming up real quick.
Yeah.
So we started looking at the Vietnam veterans, and they're matching up with names from the Korean veterans.
Do you know
Come to
so-and-so?
find out, it's a father-son
Yeah.
thing, and hey, we're
Couldn't-
talking, 3
couldn't
months down the
imagine.
road, we're going to send them ananyway.
Yeah.
So let's put them on,
Couldn't
honor them
imagine
as a
anything
veteran.
better than a father and son going to
Yeah.
visit their memorials together. I mean,
Right.
it's not
And-
going to be a dry eye,
No, no. And
which
I'll,
normally there isn't anyway. So.
I know this has been said before, but I'll say it again, that the World War II veterans that go, I mean, everything that they got, they deserved, and the honor that they get, and the Korean veterans, the same thing. I actually heard today that they just announced that the Korean War is over.
They
Seriously.
they signed a truce.
I heard
Yeah.
they signed a
Did
truce
they?
that
We're-
as of
Yeah.
This morning,
the Korean War is now over. So welcome home, boys.
there was never a war. It was
No,
a police action.
Police action. The
Yeah.
same with Vietnam. Same
It
thing
was,
in
you
Vietnam.
know, yes, we were listening to the radio on the way down here, and you know, you can't imagine 6 months ago the tension we had with North Korea. So right now, you just hope this
Yeah.
bubble isn't going to burst.
Hey,
Right.
But it does look like we're making some real progress.
just
here,
getting the opportunity is a step ahead of where we've been for a long, long time.
you know.
First time
So-
since the
but those,
war.
and like Greg said, we've got veterans that were in both World War II and Korea.
Well, sure.
We had a
That
couple
guy
that
can
were
tell
all-
you.
All three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy can tell you. There's no difference between that bunker in World War II and that bunker in Korea.
The bullets were just
War
as
is
real.
war.
That's
So whatever you want to
shrapnel.
call it, that's not our service members' problem.
No.
Yeah.
And once we decided we were going into the Vietnam era, it was stated very clearly that World War II, Korea got getting
priority.
everything they deserved. Vietnam, nobody deserves it more than those guys.
Yeah.
What happened to them when they came home is nothing more than national travesty, and I know we can't fix it, and I'll speak to Greg.
No, no.
We can't erase that,
I know.
but we are going to do our best to make up for it and let it know that now it's totally different.
It
We
is.
appreciate what everybody did. We're going to honor and show you guys the gratitude that you've had coming for a long, long time also. And I know personally some of the things you went through when you got home.
Yeah, I've heard the story. Do you want to tell the story?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, everybody knows how the Vietnam veterans were treated when they come home. They were called names and spit at and things thrown on them. And I know when I was in country, some of the guys had to go home on emergency leave, and they would come back with these horror stories. Like, man, I don't think you want to go home. It's like, it's terrible. I had to take my uniform off at the airport because I didn't, you know. They were protesting and spitting on us and calling us names, and I'm like, you got to be kidding, because you don't get that kind of news over there.
Well,
You barely
I-
ever seen a
boy.
What
newspaper.
would kill your morale? more
Morale,
than-
exactly.
Exactly. So I know I was approached when we first started on our flight by a Vietnam vet, and like, Greg, do you think they'll ever do this for us?
And darn right, you darn right, they're gonna do it for you.
The honor flightitis, I guess it's called, right? Your eyes tear
The
up.
honor flight allergies. Everybody gets a case of the allergies. You gotta
Spring,
rub just a little bit.
Yeah, you know, we talk about, you know, the Vietnam War, and you know, I think that old saying is people who don't know history tend to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at World War One, how we got in there.
Yep.
If we look at World War Two, how we got in there. Both times, particularly America, we were standing on the sidelines trying not to get involved. And that old domino effect happened, and more of these European countries got taken over by whoever in World War One, and then in World War Two with Germany and so on. So that's what I think led to Korea with with Red China.
Yep.
We didn't want that domino effect to start with. They start with Korea, then they just keep spreading out, and next thing you know, Japan is a communist, and the Philippines, and so on. And then the same thing with Vietnam. I think our problem with Vietnam is we never really fought to win the darn thing.
Nope,
You
never.
know,
Right.
you know, and that was
They didn't let them win.
yeah,
No.
yeah. Well, we could have.
We were
could've-
more than capable of winning
Of course.
the war, but
Yeah.
it was micromanaged by Washington, and we bombed useless targets year after year after year.
Yeah.
The pilots would come home with stories like, if they just let us bomb the right targets, this thing would be over.
Yeah.
We dropped more tonnage of weapons on Hanoi than was dropped in all of the theaters of World War II. You can imagine that, and didn't bring them to the
Yeah.
peace table.
Yeah. So you know, so there's always that side of us that says, let's stay out of it. when we
Yeah,
see things
try to.
happening in Syria and Iran and other places. Let's stay out of it. Let's
Right.
keep our people at home safe. And then there's that other side that says, look what happens when we don't. So
Right.
there's no pat answer on
No.
whether we should get involved or not. And so the people who were there, who got involved, deserve our thanks.
Absolutely, and this has been said many times. There's no difference between when Greg went to war and what he was fighting for than when the guys went into
Well,
World War II fighting against Hitler and Mussolini.
We went where we were ordered to go. and where
Exactly.
we were told to go.
They did what they
And,
needed to do to protect the
We
country.
fought for that guy next to us. That's what
Well,
we-
sure,
that's
your
what-
buddy,
yeah, that's what it was about.
yeah.
Do it again.
And that's another common phrase you hear from these guys, and even the World War II guys, right,
Sounds
Greg?
crazy. But
I'd go back in a minute.
Yeah, sounds crazy.
Well, the war
my,
was- go ahead.
my mother was a Army veteran from the Canadian Army.
Yeah.
So I grew up, whenever the war stories were being told, a lot of them started with when the Americans got there. So my mother was in England in 1939 before we even considered going into the war.
Right.
So, like I say, when she would get with other veterans up in her home up in Western Ontario, a lot of it was centered around that. You'd hear that. And then, we did this and this and this, and then when the Americans came, and everything changed. So the impact, as you said, we were waiting on the sidelines, and once we were in the war, of course, Pearl Harbor,
Yeah.
and once that was done, here we come, and they knew it was coming. And I'm sure the Germans and everybody else knew it was coming also, that our impact on the war was going to be the game changer.
Yeah, and let's face it, if Pearl Harbor never happened and we never got involved in that World War II, this would be a far, far different world.
Better believe it.
Far different. I mean, especially when you got the rest of the world all controlled by one group of people looking down on you.
Well, actually two, because you had
Yeah.
Japan's.
But I mean, they would have been on the
Germany's
same
interest. Yeah, they had to-
wavelength,
Yeah, they're same.
And
and they knew how they had to get.
And eventually they would have been here.
Well, of course,
Eventually.
of
Yeah.
course.
Have to bring it to them.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Nice. I can't say nice, but the thing that we didn't have to fight on our fields, our shores, our.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Normandy wasn't on our shore; it was
No,
on France's
Other than
shore.
Pearl Harbor, of course, but
Yeah,
what instigated it, but yeah.
Makes you think the thought process behind bombing Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of the biggest blunders
know.
ever done. Boy, that's got to be up there.
we'll show them.
yeah, yeah. They don't want to get involved. Watch this.
yeah, yeah. That's like going out in the woods and seeing a hornet's nest and
yeah, yeah.
swatting it.
Oh, there's a bear sleeping. Let me poke it.
You gotta wonder that maybe North Korea is starting to realize a little bit of that too.
I think
know,
we've got their attention.
I think we have, that we're not fooling around,
Yeah. So let's hope that what we're hearing now is April 27th today that
We
continues.
squeeze on them, we put the squeeze on them.
Yeah, let's hope it continues and
Yeah.
it's not just some.
I
some
think
delay
China-
tactic
I
on
think
the-
China helped push them too, because they
Yeah.
realized themselves that we were gonna have to get involved more, and they didn't wanna see that either, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have strange allies sometimes. Now you mentioned people who were going to go or did go. That one that came to my mind was Ken Lord from Coopersville, who went to the virtual.
Oh,
Yes.
the
Flight.
virtual.
And in talking to Grace Lauren, who was his guardian at the virtual thing, that he decided he could go on the regular one, and now he's
And
passed
they
on.
are
Yeah.
authorized to do that.
Yeah.
So are you going to have any virtuals this year? Is that the possibility?
We'll see. Right now, there's 2 that are interested, and that's about it. So we haven't had an overwhelming.
Yeah, we have to have, what, 8 or 9 before.
Yeah,
we
we'd
could
like to have.
actually do it, but it's feasible.
Yep.
We
We'll
wouldn't
see.
do it till fall anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah. So what the virtual is the virtual reality headgear,
Right.
and they go to this and get the experience, the 3D
Yeah.
experience.
They get the whole experience as far as the ceremony and the escort with the motorcycles. The only difference is when the bus gets to the airport, it continues on to one of the schools. but otherwise they get the full
Right,
treatment.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were here at the base and got all that, and then,
Yeah.
yeah, after the ceremony at the airport, off they went to the Beekman Town School, and, they, it's a 3D experience, so they're sitting.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
they're not
Yeah,
standing
no,
up
they
and-
all enjoyed it. They all raved
Yeah.
about it, and Gary Lambert and his crew up there did a remarkable job. The whole Beekman Town School District.
sure did.
Boy, we just did a presentation for the 8th grade up there this past Monday, and what an appreciative group of kids. They're so well informed, is what it is. They know what's going on. They understand when you got 6 World War II veterans coming on stage with you. They understand the importance of that and the significance. We're at a rare time in history where
Yeah.
these kids are going to be able to grow up, and when they start talking and they think back that they met World War II veterans, you know, that it's going to be a rarity soon. So to have that chance and to be able to ask the questions that they ask and to get the answers that they get,
Mhm.
just a rare opportunity that.
I think our school visits have helped along those lines, because we visited, I think, just about every school in the North
We've
Country
done
now.
everyone.
We're actually visiting some of them for the second time now. So, and the veterans are always well received by the students. So I think that helps change a lot of attitudes and opens a lot of minds.
Is that Saranac group still involved? They
The
still
Freedom
see you
Club.
down there?
Freedom Club, yeah.
Elise
Boyer is
Yeah.
going to meet us down there at the memorial again.
On my flight, on this flight.
Yeah.
So that's going to be neat.
Yeah.
I've known her for many years.
She's a
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So those kids, and again, someday they're going to realize the opportunity they had to be part of that Freedom Club and the extra that they got to do because of that. And
yeah. Between them and that little Morrisonville group that
Oh
comes
my
every year and
gosh.
sings that every
Red,
flight
White, and
sings the
Blue.
red, white, and blue
Yeah.
song. It's just,
yeah,
We're waiting to get a final answer on them being at this flight, and I'm hoping they're still going to come.
they're the ones that cause a lot of the honor flight allergies. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, your roster of people that you've flown and who are no longer with us grows every year, and it seems it's like a upside down pyramid.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's-
Unfortunately.
Yeah. we knew when we signed
Yeah.
up for this. We knew we're dealing with, and
We try to send representatives to all the wakes and the funerals, and the family really appreciates us doing that. And they actually call us and invite us, but we would go anyway, of
Right.
course. But
Hmm.
they always have their jacket or their hat out there, or their flag that they're given, stuff like that. So
yeah, you can never give a bigger statement on what honor flight meant to that veteran's life as to be buried in their honor flight jacket.
yeah.
Um,
We've
Yeah.
had them call us and ask if it's okay, and I go,
Yeah.
of course it's okay.
Yeah.
How can my grandson wear his grandfather's hat? I mean, if you don't think that over.
No.
Yeah.
no, we want it back.
It's actually been asked a couple times, and I was like, you better wear that.
Yeah, exactly.
His last name escapes me right now, and I apologize, but one of the guys I talked about was always sitting in that front row, Ross.
Ross Bouye.
Bouye.
Bouye, who's
Yeah.
just one of those that
Ross
passed
is a
away.
good example. He never
Oh.
missed a function. I don't care where it was or what it
No.
was doing.
No, just a
He was
great
there.
guy.
Him and Dorothy. And Dorothy's still with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just, the fact with Ross that he loved it so much to go do these things, and he loved the kids, and he loved everywhere we went, and he was very able to speak about it.
Yeah.
And he did so much. I mean, he started on Omaha Beach and worked his way across. When he was done in the war, he was looking down on Berlin.
Wow.
So, and he walked. He wasn't in a tank and a jeep and no, he
Imagine that.
walked.
I can't
He was
even imagine
infantry with the 83rd, and
that.
he made the whole trip through the Ardennes, through the Battle of the Bulge.
Well, that's not a joyful walk. It's
No.
dodging bullets all the way
Yeah,
from the...
yeah. There's a lot of stops
Just to
between,
be a survivor in any condition.
on some of the stories he had. Just
I know.
Yeah.
What a great guy, though. What
I
a
think
great guy.
the prevalent one is the one with on Christmas Day, 1944. He ended up with just him and another guy, and he didn't know the other guy. He knew he was in his unit, but he didn't know him. And there was nothing to eat. It was 10 below zero, snow on the ground, and you just couldn't find anything to eat. And then Ross realized he had put one candy bar in the bottom of his sack. So here's his moral dilemma. Ross, being the guy he is, he took that candy bar out of his bag, ripped it in half, and gave half to his buddy next to him. And, we never did find out who the buddy was.
No, no, I'm sure that happened a lot. I'm sure that happened a lot.
I hope he sent him a box of candy bars when he got home.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we lost one when we lost Ross. We lost a big part. He was with us from the beginning, and anything you ever want, he was right there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other veterans.
Yeah, we just can't mention them
No,
all.
no,
Oh
no.
my gosh.
But there was a man who was scheduled to be going, and was always here greeting people. Talk about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Mr. Paul Dumas?
Yes.
Yeah, Paul was a personal friend of mine.
It's,
We come to know each other at the Veterans Park when we were building the park. I'm a mutual DAV member with Paul, and I knew his family. And he liked to think of himself as a Marine, as you know, even though he was Navy. And I'd go along with it, you know. But
what was it? He was Navy based in a Marine unit,
yeah,
correct?
yeah, he was. He was. He did a lot of underwater demolition and that sort of thing in Korea. So yeah, he had a tough job. I mean, if anybody could be called a Marine, I would be proud to call him one. And yeah, I lost a good friend with Paul. We're still trying to get his park built over there,
Yeah.
and we're still working on it
Right
every
here
day.
on the,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And again, like you had mentioned earlier, the motorcycle groups, we had two of the Legion riders from West Plattsburgh out at 1619 come to a meeting, and they're trying to plan a ride to benefit Honor Flight, and their goal is to pay for a whole flight, pay the $15,000 and sponsor the whole flight, and that flight's going to be called the Paul Dumas flight,
Oh, wow.
because they want to honor Paul.
Yeah. We
So
were
that's
just
how-
actually talking over breakfast this morning about Paul. Because Paul was always in the middle of the street, and he would be the first person you'd see when you drove around the
Yeah,
oval.
right.
You know, and he could be hard, you know. He had that rough, you know, exterior.
He didn't mind telling you which way to go
Yeah.
with the next foot
Yeah.
on the end of it.
Uncertain turns.
So I'd always have to, it's me. Oh, okay, yeah, you can go over there.
Yeah.
He had that distinctive handlebar mustache.
Oh, my
you
gosh.
know. But just a great guy.
Oh.
Proud to call him friend.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of escorting his body to Randolph, Vermont for burial at the Veterans Cemetery over there. And you talk about a beautiful place. It looks like a miniature Arlington
Really?
when you drive around. You're
Oh,
right
wow.
at the top of this little hill there, and it's just on the side of the mountain there. I mean, yeah.
Now, you brought up Vermont, and I want to mention it earlier because you talked about Utica. What is the scope of where veterans...
Our geographical area is one of the biggest to an honor flight. I'll let Barry tell you.
I've never called Alaska, but I'm sure theirs might be a little bigger, but not much.
Yeah, that's true.
We go all the way to Watertown, and actually Watertown area has their choice of heading south to Syracuse or coming over here. We go south. We've been to Albany. We've had Albany veterans go.
Lake
George.
Lake George in general, but we'll go further. Yeah.
And again, if there's a tie to the area, we've had veterans that happen to live down in
Yeah.
Brant Lake that wanted to go with us because they're from Plattsburgh originally.
sure.
Or
But they got
So,
a friend that's going that lives
yeah.
here, and they want to
Mhm.
go together because they're buddies, and you know, different things like that.
But we've
Might have
learned a lot about the
Yeah.
geography
Yeah.
of the area.
So
I now
even
know
Vermonters, though, Vermont?
A lot of northern
Vermont, and it was a very long decision process.
Yeah.
We had very long discussions over this to figure this
Yeah.
out, but it's not fair to the veterans to exclude them because of a piece of water.
Yeah.
I can hit Burlington with a stone.
Yeah.
Wow, you got a good arm.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, here we are taking veterans from Whippleville and
Yeah.
Winthrop, you know, everywhere out west that's 5 times further away.
For the, yeah.
So it was only fair. So what we did was we decided to limit the number. I don't think we're fully being made aware of in the Burlington area. Otherwise, we would have heard a lot more.
Well,
But we
sure.
do have some people that are working for us over there. We've got actually 3 volunteers that do a great job over there, and they let veterans know. And so we've been getting a limited amount of veterans. It's not like it's been overwhelming, but we chose to do 2, possibly 3 per flight. So it's not, you know,
So do they have another alternative over there? Is there an honor flight serving that area?
no. The best they can do is go to New England Honor Flight, which flies out of New Hampshire, which is right next to Boston. What's
Right.
the city?
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'll think of it 10
yeah,
minutes from now.
yeah. So you know, it'd be basically flying out of Boston, and that's their closest chance. So they come here.
Well, they're all Red Sox fans anyway. So.
Most of
Well,
them. We,
what can I say?
Mr. Zioli that went with us last year. I don't know. He was quite a character. Come to find out, and he was the athletic director for one of the schools
He was,
over
he was
there.
a talkative fella.
Yeah, very talkative. Yeah, very vocal. And yeah, he's the one that scared me at the ceremony when he asked, "Can I have that mic for a minute?" And I went, "Ooh,
Yeah,
this is a new
I
one."
give up that mic.
But it worked out good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But he had a whole athletic complex named after him. A whole gym setup, the track, the football field, everything was named after him. So he was quite a memorable character.
Yes, he was. We've had a few like that.
Okay, so this is the first flight. Can we mention who's going, or what is this?
Sure can.
You
Greg, you want to run that down with him?
No, I don't know. I can pronounce all those names. Okay. We have John Zelanzi out of Keysville. Zelazny. I see. I knew I was going to mispronounce some names there. Edwin Vinette, also from Keysville. We had a good Keysville bunch this time.
Yes, we
have
did.
a Clarence Rayner, also from Keysville. John Clark from Keysville.
Well, that's enough Keysville people. What about the rest of the
Easy
people?
now.
Actually,
Easy.
We're almost done with.
My uncle was the mayor down there.
We have Kenneth Pete from Champlain.
There we go. See, now we're helping. Now we're going.
Russell Misick, also from Champlain.
Yep, Vietnam.
Delore Duquette from Moores.
Dolores going.
Yeah.
You'll keep your
Oh,
you'll keep your ears busy.
Yeah, he's quite a guy. He's quite a guy. And I've actually met all these folks. Robert Torino from here in Plattsburgh. And Bob and his father are going. They're both going as vets. Bob's still down in North Carolina. He's one of our volunteers too, by the way.
Yeah.
He's on his way back. Yeah, he's on his way back north as we speak.
Yeah.
Snowbird.
Yeah, and he'll be going with his dad, who was a Korean War vet.
And the past commander of the VFW here at 125 in
Yes,
Plattsburgh.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Joseph St. Dennis from Peru. Russell Lapine from Plattsburgh, and his son Stephen, also from Plattsburgh. And we have an interesting fellow, Dr. Neil Fee, who was a dentist.
Uh-huh.
He was in World War II, and
Okay.
was actually, his office was in the same building with MacArthur in Tokyo.
Really?
So that was kind of interesting to talk to him about that. I asked him if he ever got to use a drill on him, and he said no.
He did say he'd be back though.
He did.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
We can pull out that
I shall
molar.
return.
Yeah. Bernard Patterson from Malone. Donald Silver from Whippleville. You folks know where Whippleville is.
That's near Malone.
Go to Malone, take a left, and
You can get lost and you're in Whippleville. Well, there's a luthier there.
Yeah.
What's his name? Don Nichols. Don Nichols makes guitars.
I was in his
Oh,
shop
yeah,
the other
yeah.
day.
Oh, yeah?
I know.
And he was very instrumental with the Gibson brothers,
Yes,
helping
he
them
was.
get going.
No kidding.
Yeah.
We sat with him at the Gibson concert last week.
Did you?
Dan and Warren. Yeah.
There you go.
He actually won the 50-50.
Oh,
Drawing.
that's rigged.
Yeah, he didn't share it either. And then we've got Arthur Miller from Utica, and they'll be coming up the day before. And we got James Smith from Whitesboro, which is a little town just outside of Utica. Those two guys will be coming together. And
Arthur's your 99-year-old.
Arthur is our 99-year-old, absolutely. He's our oldest vet going on this flight. And he sounds pretty healthy. And then we have Renee Fournier from Swanton. The fellow coming with him is also a vet, Charles Magnet. He's a VFW commander over there in Swanton. And he took 6 veterans down to Washington when the monument was first built. And on his own, they rented a van and went down to visit it. And this is the guy that's coming with us, Fournier. He's the only survivor of that original 6. So
Oh.
Charlie's going to them back down with a group rather than go on their own. So we're looking forward to that. And our last one is Robert Spring from Ticonderoga, and his son will be accompanying him down. So we're spread out.
Yeah.
Geographically, we got a pretty good spread.
Well, you're talking that Swanton, that's I believe Franklin County in Vermont, and of course Franklin County in New York has really
Yeah.
been a boost.
Yeah.
They've really helped the fundraising and
Oh gosh,
and
no, they've been great. Yep.
so
Well, as it turned out, Charlie Magnet, who was the commander down there, knew of a lot of other veterans that haven't been, that don't even know about us, believe it or not. And since we did the interview over there with him, he's already sent me 2 applications of Korean War vets that haven't been yet. So I think we made a good connection there. So we're looking to get some more Vermont guys.
good.
Yeah.
Up until now, we've mainly relied on the Daughters of the American Revolution over there. They got involved a couple years
That's
ago,
great.
and they've been great to us also. They've done some fundraisers, and always some of their members are sending in checks as well on a personal basis, but they've done a lot of work, and they'll find veterans and get us the info so we can line them up and get them on a flight. And I think we probably sent 6 or 7 that have gone through the Daughters of the American Revolution. So they've been good to us, which is right now probably our major holdup as far as just finding the veterans to go as far as the World War II guys. We hate to think that someone's going to miss out on this because they don't know.
Yeah.
Again, we try to get a word out as best we can. We've tried every option that we're aware of. Now we're down to just word of mouth that
Pretty much.
someone's got to ask if they were a World War II veteran. You know, some, if you see the hat, you can ask and it makes it easy.
Yeah.
Others you don't know, and they're not going to tell you unless you ask.
Yeah, people should
And,
know also that even if they're in an assisted living facility or a nursing home, if we can get them there, we will. We've taken them out of the nursing homes and the
Yeah, I
assisted
remember
living
Richard
facilities.
Hamline
Oh my gosh, yeah.
going.
We
a few years
basically
back.
carried him from bus to plane, plane to bus, and bus to memorial, and all day long. And he got home, and I've never seen a smile that
No.
big. He just had the greatest day of his life, he said.
So we like to visit those facilities occasionally and see who's there, and so somebody we missed, somebody new, and usually can pick up 1 or 2 here and there.
And of course, you've approached every veterans organization to
Oh, absolutely.
scour their membership.
Yeah,
to-
absolutely.
And what we're finding is sometimes you get a lot of the, oh, I didn't know that, or I never would have thought that. You know, you get a 95-year-old that looks like he's 75. They never thought to ask him. And it's
Wow.
happened. It's people right under our noses.
The other thing is, a lot of these World War II veterans came home and went to work, and went back to the farm. They never utilized any of their VA benefits.
No.
None of them. So, and they're not even involved in a veterans organization. They got jobs. They got to have their own insurance. They didn't need to
Mhm.
use the VA health care service. And I found that a lot. That,
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just out of touch for whatever reason. So they're out there. I'm
Yeah.
convinced that there's more of them out there.
Me too. No,
Yeah.
they're there, and
Well,
some we've talked to, and you just can't convince them to go.
World War II ended in 1945.
Right.
So
Early 90s.
you
Yeah.
were 18 and 45.
Well, you'd be
You were
surprised how
born
many
in 27.
16-year-olds were in though.
Yeah.
I myself went in when I was 16, so I know it was even more prominent in World War II. Young guys off the farm. So it could be a little bit younger and still be out there, but For the most part, they're early to late 90s.
They gotta be 90.
Minimum.
I think
Yeah.
92 would be the minimum. Is that
That's our
sound-
number that we kind of use.
So if
But,
they're born, like I said, 27, they'd be
Yeah.
18 and 45,
right.
so that would make them 91.
Yeah, if they got in at the very end of the
Yeah.
war. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if he's
So
81, if he's 81 and says he was in World War II, he's probably fit.
Probably not.
We've been fortunate on that
Well,
front too.
it could be like that Japanese soldier they found in the caves in Okinawa. Didn't know it was over until what, 60, late 60s, early 70s
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. Vietnam was going on.
Yeah, he had to come out and surrender.
We've been had a
Must-
couple of questions on ages and wars and qualifications of veterans
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and we've been very fortunate that we do a background work as far as their we look it up to find their medals and the achievements during the war, and
get- In most cases, we get a copy of their DD-214,
Yeah.
which is their official military record. And not all cases, because there was a number of them destroyed down at Denver, had the big fire, and a lot of the personnel records were lost. But in most cases, we get that.
Well, you've almost got to. Fortunately, I can't remember his name, but I know there was a major politician that was a couple of years ago that had claimed to be in Vietnam, and he'd never even been in the military, and he was running as a Vietnam
Unfortunately,
vet.
there's,
You
a
know,
lot
so
of
yeah,
it's because somebody says they did something.
Stolen valor, we refer to that
Right.
as, and unfortunately, you got that, and you're always going to have that. But we haven't found it in our organization, thank God.
we don't. I don't think people would dare to try to pull that
Oh,
over us.
I would hope not.
We're not. I wouldn't. We're pretty thorough with it,
Yeah.
so it would show up.
Yeah.
But we've been fortunate not to have to deal with that.
No,
That
no.
when
Not at
somebody
all.
says something about that, you can
Yeah.
pretty much count on it.
Actually, it's been the other way around. They're too modest. So, you know, if I didn't do nothing, come to find out they were, like I said before, in this big battle or famous battle, and nobody went unscathed. But they're
Yeah.
telling you they did. They didn't do nothing.
I forget the guy last year. He, like say same thing. He said
Yeah.
he didn't do much. Come to find out, he had 10 battle stars from the Pacific Theater.
Yeah.
In other words, he hit just about every island going up
Yeah.
into Japan. He couldn't have missed any to have that many.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
So right now, your number one priority is still World War II, because
Yeah.
you got to get them while they're still here.
Gotta get him.
And then Korean.
Yep.
And now you're going hot and heavy with the Vietnamese,
Yeah.
Vietnam War. Now, I know in the past they had to have a serious health problem, and you would move them up the ladder if they were
Right.
Still the
Vietnam
case.
vets.
Yeah.
Still the case. Yeah, we've had a couple. We've unfortunately.
But you don't
moved
have
up.
to. If you're Vietnam, you don't have to have a health problem. Or-
Not to be on the on like
No.
On the
as
list.
far as the health exemption, that's probably only gonna be for another, 2-3 months,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna be into the Vietnam guys anyway, so it won't be an issue at that
Other than
point.
to maybe move them up one flight sooner or something if it became necessary, but
And the other thing, long term, long after Greg and I move on, we've got applications
Greg's not
from
going
Desert Storm. We've actually got an application from Afghanistan.
yeah, we got a
So
desert.
there's some people looking ahead.
Yeah.
We have a Desert Storm going on this one, but he's also Vietnam, and his
Okay.
dad's Korea.
Oh wow.
So he's actually going as a Desert Storm in Vietnam. That's Bob's
Yeah.
touring off.
Yeah. So, these young people, and we're losing so many of them to
Yeah.
post-traumatic stress.
Gosh.
It's just
Well, tour after tour after tour, combat tour. You can't do that and not be affected in every possible way. I'm pretty heavily involved with the PTSD issue, and I don't know how they don't all have it in some form or another.
well, maybe
Yeah.
everybody copes differently. So
Yeah.
to some degree, people.
Sometimes it doesn't hit you too many years later. In my case, it was 20 years later. I guess I decided to sit down and think about it.
That was your first mistake, right?
Yeah, I went right to work when I got out of the hospital and never looked back.
Yeah, you try to
Yeah,
erase that. Get
you
that.
do. But eventually you have time to stop and think about it. But it's all good. It's all good.
Now the other part of that is the fundraising. How if you get bigger flights available all of a sudden here, what,
We're in good shape right now. For how long we don't know. That is it's such an ongoing process where it's a steady in and out that I don't think we could ever accumulate enough to say, okay, we're not worried about anything anymore.
Especially like this flight here with being so many of the vets going as a guardian vet, so we don't charge those guardians. So
Right.
we've lost that part of the income.
okay,
So
So
we're down
our half
6.
has now become 2/3.
okay. In the past, the guardians had to pay their own way.
They pay $400 for the day, which just about covers the cost between the jackets,
that's
the
their
hat, and the
clothing
shirt,
and their meals and their fare and the bus fare and the whole 9 yards.
and now we're down 6 on this flight. So,
Because of
Yeah, so that's
so
going to
it's-
affect it somewhat, and probably will for the near future.
yeah.
But we're still doing well, like Barry said. We're meeting expenses and have to keep a little bit, in the back to
something.
fall back on.
Yeah.
But we're doing okay, and we got a lot more fundraisers planned. So
Boy, we got new people that are organizing and pulling off events that we haven't had before,
all right.
which is just unbelievable the amount
Yeah.
of attention
They
and
call
time
us-
they're putting into this.
They call us up and what do you think about us doing this and to raise money for you guys? And okay, what do you want us to do?
Yeah. And we've got I mean, there's bike ride. I think there's 3 bike rides this year for Honor Flight. We've got a craft fair coming up over at VFW 125.
A couple dinners.
The concert on the pond this year at Post 1619 is for Honor Flight. That's never happened before, so we're very honored for that.
Yeah.
And a lot of new people that are getting involved that we're very happy to see. The biker community is just awesome.
The combat
So
vets,
many.
They do the ghost ride every year, and even though they don't particularly name it as being for Honor Flight, a portion of those funds usually do go to Honor Flight. So
And then you get the oddball stuff.
Are you staring at those cans here? Let's bring them into the picture here.
Oh, Mr. Danny Barber was talking with a fella who worked at a can plant down in Schenectady.
Make the cans, not
they-
didn't fill the cans.
No,
Just made the cans.
just made the cans, and they made millions and millions and millions of each type of can, and they did a lot of the commemorative cans. So whether it be a Disney character, football, basketball, baseball, racing,
Star Wars.
Star Wars, anything made with a commemorative can. We got cans from the Great Escape. If you bring in a Pepsi can, you get $5 off. We got those from 20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
If it was made, this fella, Brett Morrow, is a friend of Danny's and a friend of all of ours. He's Keysville. And,
Another Keysville guy.
another Keysville guy.
Amazing. That, what a town. What a town.
It really is. And it didn't take long to figure out the connection because Brett lost a brother in Vietnam. So that was we knew what his intentions were once we started talking about this donation. And Brent was the one that worked in the factory, and every time a commemorative can would flow through the process, he'd grab one and throw it in a box. And completely fine with the management. It's not like he was taking it, they all knew it. Actually, he would decide what top would go on it. Sometimes there are different tops, and he'd put the banks, so he'd make them useful too. They're not only a commemorative can, but it's a bank as well.
This is a Super Bowl 6. Roger Staubach, MVP.
This one's kind of interesting. This disguises your beer as a Coke. So you just flip that bad boy over there, and it fits it nicely, and everybody thinks you're having a Coke.
So that donation, with all cans typical of this, about 5,000 cans.
5,000 cans.
We took all day Wednesday and went through them and tried to sort them out by type, and it's just overwhelming.
Beer cans too?
Beer cans,
Beer,
soda
yeah.
cans, everything. We got beer from Japan, soda from
Los Angeles,
Kyrgyzstan.
Los
I'm telling you, every corner. Actually, there's a Coke series with every country on it. Everything you can imagine that was ever put on a soda or a beer can, we've got one.
This actually has Dale Earnhardt on it. This can. They have a series of NASCARs, cans as well.
We
And on
we
the
tried
inside-
to find the value of that.
On the inside is an autograph.
I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's Dale Earnhardt's
No.
signature, but if you want to think it is.
Yeah. But the problem with that right there is, as much as, I mean, the Dale Earnhardt coin or a Coke can itself, I could
Uh-huh.
probably look that up and tell you what the value of that is.
Mhm.
What is the value of
The cutoff thing.
a
like
raw
that.
material for a can that was never made into a can?
Mhm.
Chances are this is a one-off. There's no other piece like that there is. So how do you price that, and what's it worth?
Right.
We're hoping somebody out there can tell us. We are really, really looking for help. We
5,000 of these to turn into cash.
I mean, if they're, some are $100 items, we already know that. Some are cans.
Or
The
5
regular
cents.
Coke cans
But for the
and
right person, or a
They're
Roger
worth at least a
Staubach
nickel.
fan who'd,
They're worth at least a nickel
oh yeah.
deposit.
I borrowed that one for a reason. I'm a diehard Cowboy fan.
Oh,
that
you're-
means the world to me. So I'll
You're
be
gonna
the
be
first.
you're gonna be in the bidding.
I'll be the first person to bid on that.
Somebody has to be a Cowboy fan, right?
Especially Roger Staubach. He's my favorite. So that was easy to take that one and use that as an example. But like I say, who knows?
Yeah.
When something else doesn't exist, you got to figure out what the value
There's
is.
some
And
pretty unique ones there, for sure.
This is a huge donation because he's donating them to you with the idea that you're going to liquidate them.
right.
Yes.
And he spent all of his working years gathering this, collecting this,
33 years.
and he has to know it's a tremendous value.
Oh,
to
yeah.
what he's given you.
Yeah.
Ideally, somebody would come along and offer us a nice big fat number
And
and take them all.
we'll call the pickers.
We are going to make a few calls, and actually, there is a couple of organizations, the Beer Can Collectors of America,
No kidding.
the Soda Can Collectors
Yeah,
of America, and then there's just the Can Collectors of America. So there are groups that we plan on being in touch with, and who knows? Maybe at that point it would be a one-time
Yeah.
sale.
There has to be some interest out there in that, because I know there's some one of a kinds there for sure.
Yeah. Well, I saw one today on eBay. It was a can, and the guy had it on eBay for it was a Coke can with nothing in it, which we've got probably that aren't banks. We probably got 1,000 of those. This guy wanted $1,500 for the Coke can that wasn't opened with no soda in it.
Right.
Empty.
I'm thinking if we could get $1,500 for that 1,000 we've got,
Yeah, well, that's what he's hoping that somebody be.
asking for and getting are two
Yeah,
different things.
yeah,
It's
right.
like baseball cards, as you know. That's two different factors there. But we think it's very valuable in the least amount. So we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. Anybody good with eBay or anything like that? We're
You,
looking
you
for
guys
help.
might be able to buy your own plane. And
Wouldn't that be great? Again, who knows? I mean, to a real collector, to have something that nobody else in the world has,
yeah.
that's the ultimate
Oh.
collector's idea.
Well, I mentioned the pickers, and you watch that, and you see this piece of rust that if it was in your garage, you'd toss
Worth
it,
nothing.
and we'll give you 500 for that.
Yeah.
And then you see
Yeah.
something that looks real nice. You say, "Well, we'll give you 30."
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
No, it's all in the eyes of the beholder, right?
I guess so.
Yeah. So, if you want to make a bid on this, contact these guys. There's 5,000 of them. So,
Please do.
We'll load them.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're interested, we'll put them right back on the trailer and bring them wherever you want us to bring them. We were actually talking, a couple are already brewing up some ideas to go to the can collector convention and see what they have to say. And great idea. If you guys want to go, have at it. And
Where's
let us
that at,
know.
by the way? Vegas or something?
It's in the wintertime. Better be somewhere warm.
I'll volunteer.
yeah, he's going to the beer can collectors convention. I know that. All right. You've got a poster here. We want you to help us find World War II and Korean, and now we're going to say Vietnam on there too.
Yeah.
Veterans.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm trying to get those out there just to
Were
get
you the
people's
model?
attention.
Were you the model for that?
No, I
What do you
shaved
think,
that day.
What do you think, Greg? Think that's what's
Yeah, we're gonna have to start looking at changing some of our advertisement.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of things, the parade floats, the signs on the floats and all stuff like that. It's we knew there was gonna be progressions as we came through, like I say, starting year number 6. Totally different from year number 1.
Yeah.
We've come a long way.
Better believe it.
Now help. You guys got all the help you need. Don't need any more
Never
help.
have enough help. No, no. We've got some new people that are coming on board that have been a great help already. We had 2 girls show up from the Peru Lions Club the other day, just as that trailer got delivered with the cans on it.
2 women.
2 women. They were very,
Girls,
very.
girls. He's gonna get us all in trouble here,
Girls.
Greg.
Oh, is that a bad thing?
No, not really.
They can call each other girls,
Yeah.
but we can't.
Okay. So yeah, they were invaluable in sorting out those cans. We did it in half the time because of them. So
We meet at the Keysville VFW, the 2nd and 4th Wednesday evening at 6
Yep.
p.m. If you want a free dinner, come a little early. We'll feed you before the
All
meeting.
right. Keysville VFW. Where's that?
And just it's I'll let Barry tell you that. That's his neck of the woods,
Route 9 heading south out of Keysville.
south of the village.
You go through the village and up and over the hill past the Immaculate Conception Church and Elks Club on
You
your
can see
left.
it from the northway.
Keep going another 1.5 miles and it's right there on the right. Can't miss it.
And come and sit through a meeting and see if there's anything that interests you. We have all kinds of things you can do.
Or come to an honor flight and,
Come to an
and
honor flight.
experience it.
But,
And,
Exactly. Once you see it, then you're going to want to help.
Yeah, you might want to.
And that's where most of our volunteers come from, is people that either see the ceremony or their family members that have even gone. Some of them, they understand what it's all about, and that's what it is. It just takes that little bit of a click.
There's a whole host of things we do, so you find something that you're interested in and dive in.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
dive
Yeah.
in.
You're not gonna dictate.
No.
There's a, you
No.
know, where do you want to help? Is
Yeah.
what
Most of us have a secondary job within the organization, like I'm with the fundraising.
Mhm.
But all of us have at least one job. Some of us have several. Several. We wear several hats. But,
Yeah.
you can get involved as little or as much as you want to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, nobody's ever said you got to
No.
do this, got to do that, or
We
you
have,
need
we
that.
have a few people that just come up on flight day,
Yeah.
and they help with getting the ceremony set up and getting that off, which is a really important part of what's going on. But and then we don't see them again until the next ceremony. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
No,
We had a
willing to roll up their sleeves and help out.
We had a person last year, a woman came in and wanted to help out with honor flight, and turns out she works up at H&R Block.
Mm.
If anybody's ever been in there and met Danielle Coons,
Yeah.
we were very honored to have her with us. She's a goer anyway. She's and of course new thoughts from new people always often helps.
Sure.
So they're looking at things that we don't think to look at, and
Yeah.
we're just in the habit of doing something different. But
Right. Well,
she had some great ideas, and she's helping out immensely in numerous ways.
They just held a successful fundraiser for us that netted us just about $10,000,
Wow.
and they're going to continue it through the summer months. So we may see another check in the fall, but they started that last year actually, and it's grown.
Yeah.
So just out of inviting her to a meeting,
Wow.
and
What it was is they had little coupons,
Yeah.
and if you had that coupon code, you could give that to your tax advisor at H&R Block, and they'd automatically, nothing to do with your taxes, it didn't change anything, but they'd donate $20 to North Country Honor Flight.
and that's big. That's really big.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to honor them with naming a flight after them,
Well, sure.
because if you can come up with the proceeds to fund a flight, we will name that flight after your organization or your company, and it's big.
And that's how one thing leads to another, because now Danielle's talking about, okay, if the flight is called H&R Block, I need to call headquarters.
Get the national organization involved, and who knows, you know?
So maybe,
The sky is the limit.
Yeah.
They got the money, they got your money.
yeah. So you never know what's going to turn into what. Things lead in strange directions and things you don't see coming. Eh?
Unbelievable how something will turn around.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. The May what?
May 19th,
19th,
Saturday
Saturday,
morning,
7
7
a.m.
o'clock sharp.
here at the former old base.
Greg's gonna make the call on Wednesday whether to hold the ceremony outside here at the Veterans Park.
But the Veterans Park to the Recreation Center was within eyesight of each other.
Right.
So
So
it'll
it's
be
either
one
be
of those.
inside, which is
Yeah.
nice and comfortable, or outside, where if it's 30 degrees,
Yeah.
we're gonna be saying it's Greg's fault.
Greg felt.
Exactly, exactly. So you better believe I'm gonna be really careful making that call. It's, we want everybody comfortable, but we feel that the ceremonies outdoors are nicer. If
More
the weather-
impressive,
if
but
the
you
weather
gotta have the
will let us,
weather.
but,
Yeah.
Yeah. We
only
went through
if-
the cold one there,
Oh, we went,
October 3rd,
Yeah, we had
2016.
And I didn't make that call.
2015.
That wasn't my call that day.
Yeah, it was before we realized
Yeah.
we even had the option.
uh,
We
Greg's the
scrambled
one
and-
that searched out the
Yeah.
city and found out we could do that. We didn't have a place to go inside.
Yeah.
right?
This was
But,
far too small.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, maybe.
we it worked out where a
We
lot of people
scrambled.
love the indoors now.
We got blankets for all the guys that morning, and we scrambled, but it went off. Nobody got sick, so.
Nope.
Now, it used to be more of a ceremony up at the airport itself, and then they started the reconstruction,
Yeah.
and moved more of the ceremony here.
Right.
Are they done with their renovations? Have they thought of, you're gonna keep it here, or
Well,
it's like you don't have
My
do
feeling is,
stuff and do stuff again?
yeah, you missed that parade from here to the airport when you eliminate having the ceremony here, because they're already at the airport, and
Uh-huh.
they don't get that parade from here over there. So I think that would be a big loss.
Yeah, and the first couple, you know, when we did the ceremony here and then another ceremony at the airport, it was kind of redundant
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
in a way.
it was.
And people let us know that you know, if we just had the one ceremony, we think that's enough.
It gives us more time at the airport to get things ready over
Right,
there.
and
for
once
them
you
to
get there, you can
get
start
them through
concentrating.
TSA quicker.
Yeah.
We also do photographs and stuff upstairs before they actually board the plane. It gives us time to do that. And,
It's all about the
it just
selfies.
seems to work out better for them, for the veterans, and that's what it's about. So I think they prefer it too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
less hectic on them,
Yeah.
they can get.
They love that parade over,
Oh,
past
my.
through the fire trucks and the big flag overhead.
The motorcycles.
But they gotta give me enough time here. There's one flight in particular.
I wondered how you did that.
I get to the airport,
Yeah.
screech my car to a halt, and run out.
I know. I'm
So
like,
you gotta take a
yeah.
little route after you leave here, because I'd
Yeah.
like to try to get everybody leaving here,
Like,
and
how the
then
heck did you get over here?
Judy must have some kind of magic worked up somehow.
Yeah,
You
I
yeah.
gotta
can
have
say
your foot-
goodbye to him right out here in the
I know.
parking lot, and then when I leave,
Yeah.
and I'm out the quick way, he's standing in the middle of the circle over
He
there.
has
It's
to
like,
be
wait a
breaking.
minute.
He has to be breaking some traffic.
Yeah. So we actually talked about this at a meeting too, that we've had so many people that have been involved since the beginning, and you guys are one of them. Hometown Cables.
Absolutely.
It's just a resource that we have that I personally used hundreds of times. Somebody asked me a veteran's name, and I actually got to go back and locate the flight, and then go back and watch the ceremony. And when they introduce the veteran, now I know who he is and what he looks like.
yeah.
And
I don't know.
it's just, and that's just an example. There's numerous times we've gone back to look at it, and to have all these flights documented, I know what it means to me, and for the veterans to be able to go back and look at that. It's just
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
unpriceable. You talk about collectibles. There's a collectible that you can't put a price on. To those veterans, as long as they live, they've got something to go back and look at, and they do.
All the community support, we really do
Oh
well.
gosh.
Our law enforcement out there,
No, just
Oh.
amazing.
Essex County Sheriff Cutting, hands down, takes care of us so well. John Tibbetts, the Troop B commander down in Raybrook, those guys take such good care of us, making sure that the roads are blocked and that the veterans get here via police car one way or the other.
And that's actually what this list is. This is actually the police list pickup on who's going to pick up who, because everybody wants to get involved, and they
Yeah.
all actually, rather than cross paths,
Yeah.
we set it up where, you know, there's the Essex County Sheriff's Department, New York State Police, Clinton County Sheriff's Department, Franklin County Sheriff's Department, Plattsburgh City Police,
A lot of coordination.
Homeland Security,
Yeah.
and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Aquasasne, if anybody comes that up there, they always
Yeah.
come down.
Mhm.
Just about every organization is involved one way or another.
Yeah. and then the motorcycles greet them as well, meet and follow them down, so they coordinate each other, where we're gonna meet, you know, what time we're gonna meet. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes that probably people don't realize that's
Well,
going down, but
You don't just show up here and.
no, not even.
It's
This thing starts 6-7 weeks before each flight
Oh, gee.
and goes right up to the day of the flight, and then the next day we start on the next one.
So we've had a few commitments too that we are making, and a few of those is to our longtime supporters that have always done something. With the new changeover in the flights and possibly having some free seats for a change, where before if we took anybody, a veteran was not going
Yeah,
on the
you have to
flight.
bump
So
somebody.
virtually, that would be the worst possible scenario,
Mm.
and we just couldn't do that. So now with the new flights, we're hoping to be able to take some people along. And I can tell you that one of the first names that popped up when we're talking about taking people was you. So we're hoping there's a way.
You gotta find a way to get my camera person.
Oh,
with
yeah.
me,
Yeah,
too.
absolutely, and
Who
that's
has
where
never flown before.
But you've always done this end of it. How
Oh.
great would it be to be on
Oh, I'd
that?
love to be there.
that end of it.
We
Record-
just,
record what happens there.
Absolutely.
as much as we'll have to make some arrangements, or if you can lend some knowledge for the people to pick up the slack here, because you're going to be leaving and probably missing part of the coverage on this end.
Well, not really. If
No,
No, they can just
Yeah.
drop the camera and
The
jump
out-
on board.
Yeah, outside of, if it was a virtual flight that day, that'd be the only problem we'd have, but outside, once it's on, once you get to the airport,
Yeah, and we only do
Okay.
one of those a year.
just
so.
roll it up and head on. Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one of our commitments.
Oh,
is
yeah.
If
to
you can
to
get
get
my
you
video
guys-
camera cleared to be on board, like,
Not a
we
problem.
can get some even on-board video there, so.
Yep.
We know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, maybe if Senator Dole could help us get the,
I bet
If he could, he would. No
Yeah,
doubt
he would.
about that.
He still greets the flight now and then. He's,
Yep.
of course, his health is,
yeah, he's
Yeah, he would.
well into his 90s and just.
he is, but, that memorial wouldn't be there if it wasn't for him and another gentleman that, put their two heads together and, made sure that thing got built.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said at the beginning there, it's just amazing that it took so long.
It is.
And one of the
I'm still baffled by it. Why?
Yeah.
You know, it just didn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
and one of the nice things about the Vietnam thing is they had that rotating, that
The traveling one.
traveling one that came
Yeah.
here, and
I haven't seen either one, but
you haven't seen the traveling one?
either one.
Greg
Haven't
is-
seen the real
By
one?
choice. By choice.
Oh, you've avoided.
Yeah, I've been avoiding.
And you're still contemplating this going over this time, right?
No,
Maybe, no?
no, this year, not this time.
Not this
This,
time.
this is about these guys. It's not about me. I don't want to. But yeah, I'm going to make it down there this year, one way or the other. So
It's hard for people like me to imagine
Yeah.
what that's got. I know what it means to me. And I know when I go to the World War II what it means to me and my father and my mother.
my dad was a
And,
World War II vet as well in the South Pacific Navy.
And I can't imagine going to the Vietnam Memorial knowing what he's got invested in that.
I got 17
war.
buddies on there, and I know what panel they're on, and I've looked them up online, and I know where they're at. I just decided it's probably time to go pay my respects to those guys. But yeah, this is the year.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen? That,
Please, if you know of any veterans, that's the big thing. That's our stumbling point right now. We want to make sure that we've taken every single person possible.
and stay
Korea,
tuned for
World War
the
II,
Come
Vietnam.
out.
stay
come
tuned
out
for the
and-
June one. To whether it'll take off on time.
Yeah,
or
I wish I
be
could
rescheduled.
Tell you exactly the date, but we're still working on that, and we hope it works out good. And we'll see. We should know by the first send-off. So
We're going to start
May
interviewing
19th.
for the flight, so we're
Yeah,
going
you
on the
gotta-
premise that it's going to
Yeah.
You
happen
gotta
sooner or later.
proceed as if
Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah.
take place.
And
But
Yeah, that's-
nchonorflight.org is our website. All kinds of info on there. If anybody wants to follow up with anything further, you can actually send us a message if you want. Phone numbers are on there. My numbers.
see what's going on within the organization, what events are planned, and if you want to make a donation, you can do that there as well.
We never know what's going to happen.
We never know.
Somebody donated
Never know.
$500 the other day on the PayPal account. That,
Wow.
And we brought the name up at the meeting, nobody knows who
Nobody
it
even
is.
knows him.
Wow.
We must have crossed paths somewhere, or maybe we took a friend or a relative and, that we don't know, and
Yeah, who knows?
Yep.
or they were just impressed by what's happening.
And we've been kind of talking about men and so on. You've had a bunch of ladies who've also gone to
Absolutely.
served.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
This
my
isn't
in-
just for men. This is for if
Any
you
veteran.
talked about your mother being in the
Right.
military. There's a lot of other ladies that were
Yep.
out there and have been in the
I
military.
actually
yeah.
interviewed a lady, an elderly lady, World War II veteran from Malone when we first started out, and
Mhm.
during the interview, she went and got a tin box out from underneath her bed. Her daughter was sitting there with us, and her daughter had never even seen the box. She pulls out a Bronze Star. She'd actually won a Bronze Star and never told her family.
And that's an injury. You have to be injured in battle.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's not the Purple Heart.
Oh,
She
Purple
had
Heart,
to have
yeah.
done something extraordinary.
Meritorious service.
Meritorious service. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of their kids don't even know. Their children don't even know. So that's one of them where you hope you got a clean handkerchief.
Yeah, I can imagine. Of course, we've all done things that we don't want our kids to know about.
That wouldn't be one of them.
Well, if you're
Oh,
from
by the way, I'm a
Keysville,
war hero.
if you're from Keysville, certainly.
Goes with the territory, right?
Yeah.
Greg?
Yeah.
All right,
No.
Judy, can you think of anything we should have talked about here? No, she's just anxious to.
Haven't had a word out of Judy.
No, this is unusual. That's why I do these things.
Yeah, we get to talk, huh? No, I think we got everything covered. Eh?
No, my God, these
Never
allergies.
cover everything, but
No, of course not.
the stuff for now anyway, I guess.
Okay, well, it's been our pleasure to be here. As,
Oh no, thank you.
we're
our
talking to
pleasure.
Greg Lee and Barry Finnegan for the North Country Honor Flight. And if you don't know what the North Country Honor Flight is, shame on you. Get involved and find out, because it's a great organization that's done a tremendous thing for a lot of deserving people. Thank you for watching.